Episode 724.
Ninja, Earthheart Decapitation, Backbind Strangle.
30-odd ninja, already lying in ambush when the blue crystal knights broke through the ice wall, suddenly rolled out from beneath the yellow sand and launched themselves into the air. As they rose, they flicked the long ropes from their sword hilts and looped them toward the knight's neck. They didn't bother picking their targets, they just went for whichever was closest. There might be mistakes, there might be repeats, but none of that matters. What matters is seizing whatever opportunities are right in front of you. Ye Shu knew full well that the Happy Guild players were still low level, so he never designed any complex coordination for them, let alone high difficulty techniques. The mage just had to put up an ice wall, easy. The thief just had to run over and scatter traps, simple. And the knight raising his shield to block, that went without saying. Now the ninja was a bit trickier. This was a combo, earth-splitting decapitation into backbind strangulation. Both skills had to be executed in rapid succession, and the backbind strangulation itself had to be performed mid-air. For players in the heavenly domain, this might be nothing special, but for those in the 10th server who hadn't been playing Glory for long, controlling it wasn't so easy. So Ye Shu didn't give them any further instructions, just one thing: jump up, and whatever monster you see, throw it on. He didn't even say not to overlap with someone else. This way there might be some overlap in targets, but if one person slips up, there's always someone else to cover for them. Targets might slip through, but if you put rookies in charge of coordinating, they'd miss even more. Over 30 players launched their assault at once, while the Blue Crystal Knight and his men totaled 19, roughly 2-on-1 odds. But Ye Shu and his team weren't keeping such precise count. Some monsters might have run into 3 or 4 players at once. Meanwhile, some monsters didn't encounter a single player at all. In the end, all you could see was a cloud of churned-up sand, with men thrown into the air but horses still standing. Most of the knights caught by the ground-slashing decapitation were yanked off their horses. A few took the hit, but stayed mounted, only to end up with the ninja dangling from their saddle. That's hardly surprising. After all, the Blue Crystal Knight was a wild boss, and his subordinates were formidable elite monsters with their own resistance to the players' various attacks. Some players just couldn't control their aim well enough, so naturally, they failed to achieve the desired result.
Battle Mage, Circle Swing.
But just then, another wave of attacks had already followed up seamlessly. The Battle Mage team flanked from both sides, and the moment the ninjas finished their Earthcore slash, their spears locked onto the knights who hadn't been unhorsed, thrusting in with precision. Some of their attacks missed, others landed too late. In the end, every last knight still mounted was swept off by a perfectly executed circle swing. Following that first wave of thrown men came another wave of falling men, and this time, the knights hitting the ground also generated a small shockwave, which promptly knocked over the knights who had been pulled from their horses by the ninjas and were just getting back to their feet.
Witch, level 50 and above drop Shururu. Below 50 use Lava Flask and Ice Rain. Launcher, Taser Cannon. Spitfire, Incendiary Grenade. Mechanic, Mechanical Airdrop. Summoner, summon pets to circle them. Berserker, Brawler, Chi Master.
Happy Guild's commands scrolled across the screen like a flood, message after message flickering past. Ye Shu had set up the channel early on, so no one else could speak. They just focused on releasing everything at once, without a moment's delay. Happy Guild players followed their instructions to the letter. Witches on their brooms soared into the air, and as they swept over the knight squad, they dropped what they'd been told to drop. The launchers opened fire from the back ranks. Arc grenade shells traced high arcs over everyone's heads, then burst open above the knights, each shell splitting into 8 submunitions that rained down like a sudden storm. The Spitfire's incendiary rounds, combined with the lava flasks the witch had dropped, turned the yellow sand desert into a sea of fire. The mechanic deployed an aerial supply drop, filling the sky with melon-shaped bombs, then split open to rain down garbage everywhere. The summoner's motley crew of beasts now crowded in, jamming up what little space remained. The other classes kept up their assault, and in an instant, the Blue Gold Knight and his men were swallowed by the onslaught. In that zone, only struggling silhouettes were visible. Making out their faces was already impossible.
Easy, easy.
Let me through. I haven't used my skill yet.
You berserker, you already used your skill, didn't you?
Use your skills! Fall back!
Whose goblin is this? Move it or I'll kill it.
Hey, who just smacked my butt?
Amid the chaotic assault, the happy players' chatter never let up. The moles planted in Happy Guild went through the motions, tagging along with the group, but they were completely lost. For Glory veterans, the way Happy Guild was handling this boss was an absolute eyesore. They swarmed in like a bus pulling into a stop, everyone scrambling for a seat. Yet these moles also noticed that, while this was hardly a display of brilliant coordination, yet it made everyone contribute their strength. Everyone was attacking. Everyone was part of the action. Happy Guild had brought 600 or 700 people this time, and not a single one of them was attacking Jiang Yu. The moles were completely dumbfounded. They had all received their orders by now: find a way to obstruct Happy Guild's hunt for the Blue Crystal Knight. But the sheer chaos before them left them completely at a loss. It had spiraled far beyond anything they could have imagined. Yet for all the chaos, the attacks kept coming. But how could that possibly stop them now? From inside the fray, Happy Guild's boss fight looked like pure chaos, but from a distance you could see a massive circle of players, and in one section of that circle, cannon fire, spells, sword light, and blade light converged into a living showcase of skills. All skills currently available at level 50 flashed continuously within that circle, players streaming in and out, bustling and crowding, keeping the extraordinary commotion alive at its heart.